Hey there, coffee lover.
Oh,
Get ready for a deep dive into everything coffee.
okay.
We're going to explore the world behind your daily cup,
All right.
all based on this fascinating collection of articles and book excerpts that you sent our way.
Uh-huh.
It seems like you're particularly interested in this book titled Fluidología,
Mm-hmm.
which translates to Awakening of Coffee, a global journey from bean to cup.
Oh, wow.
Talk about a promising title.
Yeah, it definitely suggests a journey
Right.
beyond just the caffeine rush, doesn't it? I'm excited to explore these sources with you.
Me too. It's like we're about to unlock the secret history and hidden wonders of coffee,
Absolutely.
all tailored just for you.
Yeah.
Where should we even begin?
Well, how about with the origins?
Yeah.
Let's journey back to the Ethiopian highlands and delve into the legend of Kaldi the goat herder and his, shall we say, energized goats.
Oh yeah, the OG coffee myth.
Right.
Isn't it fascinating how the story has been passed down for centuries?
Yeah.
Capturing that initial spark of discovery.
It really highlights how coffee's stimulating effects were recognized even in ancient times. But what I find truly intriguing is how this simple observation by a goat herder
Right.
led to coffee's journey across continents and cultures.
Okay, so walk me through this journey.
Yeah.
How did coffee go from Ethiopian goats to, well, the global phenomenon it is today?
Well, from Ethiopia,
Yeah.
coffee traveled to Yemen, where it became deeply intertwined with Islamic culture.
Okay.
And this is where things get really fascinating.
Oh.
Coffee houses blossomed across the medieval Islamic world, serving as vibrant hubs for social and intellectual exchange.
You mean like the ancient ancestors of our modern-day coffee shops?
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Imagine scholars debating philosophy,
Right.
merchants striking deals, artists sharing their creations.
All fueled by the stimulating power of coffee.
Exactly.
These coffee houses weren't just places to grab a drink.
Right.
They were centers of community and creativity.
Yeah. I mean, makes you think, did those early coffee houses spark some world-changing ideas?
That makes me wonder if they did.
Right.
But how did coffee make the jump from the Islamic world to Europe?
Primarily through trade.
Okay.
European merchants, intrigued by this exotic beverage, brought coffee back to their homelands. Interestingly, though, coffee wasn't an instant hit in Europe.
Really?
In Venice, for example, it was initially viewed as a medicinal drink.
Really? So not exactly the espresso-fueled culture we associate with Italy today.
Not quite,
Okay.
but coffee's unique allure eventually captivated European elites. And soon, coffee houses began popping up in Paris and London,
Yeah.
becoming centers of intellectual and social life, much like in the Islamic world.
It's amazing to see how those early coffee houses, whether in Cairo or London,
Right.
fostered this sense of community and intellectual exchange.
Yeah,
But then, of course, there's the darker side of coffee's history, right?
absolutely.
I'm thinking about colonialism and its impact.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
As European demand for coffee skyrocketed,
Right.
colonial powers established vast plantations in their colonies across the Americas, Asia, and Africa.
Wow.
This period, while fueling the global coffee trade, unfortunately came at a high cost,
Yeah.
often relying on exploitative labor practices and leading to environmental degradation.
It's a stark reminder that even the things we enjoy, like our morning coffee, are intertwined with complex,
Yeah,
sometimes troubling historical legacies.
absolutely. Acknowledging that complexity is crucial.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears now and follow the journey of the coffee bean itself.
Okay.
Are you ready to explore the transformation from bean to cup?
Absolutely. I'm ready to get into the nitty-gritty of how those little beans become the beverage we know and love.
Okay.
First up, the harvesting process.
All right.
And speaking of fascinating journeys, I'm curious about that mention of monkeys
Uh-huh.
being used to harvest coffee beans in Ethiopia.
Ah, yes. This practice highlights the enduring connection between tradition and coffee cultivation. In some regions of Ethiopia, monkeys are trained to select only the ripest, most flavorful beans,
Wow.
often found high up in the trees.
That's amazing. So they're like professional coffee bean pickers.
They are. It's incredible.
Wow, that's fascinating. But doesn't that make harvesting incredibly difficult?
It certainly presents unique challenges.
Yeah.
But in these specific regions,
Okay.
the terrain and the way the coffee trees grow make it a more efficient and sustainable practice
Right.
than traditional methods.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So once those prize beans are harvested, what happens next?
The next crucial step is processing,
Okay.
where those coffee cherries undergo a transformation that unlocks their distinct flavors. There are two main methods.
Okay.
Dry processing, which involves drying the entire cherry in the sun, and wet processing,
Okay.
where the pulp is removed before drying.
I imagine these different methods result in vastly different flavor profiles.
You're exactly right.
Oh, wow.
Dry processing tends to yield a fruitier, sweeter cup.
Almost reminiscent of dried berries, while wet processing creates a cleaner, brighter flavor, often with citrusy or floral notes.
So it's like choosing between a fruit bomb and a refreshing, zesty cup.
Exactly.
I can see how those distinct processing methods cater to diverse palates and preferences.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the next critical stage.
Okay.
Roasting.
All right.
This is where the true artistry of coffee comes into play.
Ooh.
The beans are heated, transforming in color, aroma, and, most importantly, flavor.
Okay, so roasting is where the magic happens.
It is, it is.
But can you break down the different roast levels and how they impact the final taste?
Sure.
I mean, what's the difference between a light roast and a dark roast?
Think of it like a spectrum of flavors waiting to be unlocked.
Okay.
Light roasts,
Yeah.
roasted for a shorter time, have a lighter brown color and a delicate, almost tea-like flavor. Medium roasts, the most popular, strike a balance between acidity and body.
Often with chocolatey or nutty notes.
And then there are dark roasts,
Yes.
roasted for the longest time,
Right.
resulting in a rich, bold flavor with smoky or even spicy undertones.
Exactly.
So it's not just about how strong the coffee is,
Right.
but about the nuances of flavor that emerge at different roast levels.
Yes.
I'm starting to see why coffee roasting is considered an art form in itself.
Absolutely.
And it's all about finding the roast level that best suits your taste.
Exactly.
Now, are you ready to explore the diverse world of coffee brewing rituals?
I am. Let's embark on a global coffee adventure.
Ooh, I'm all ears.
Perfect.
Let's embark on a global coffee adventure.
Our first stop takes us back to Ethiopia,
Okay.
the birthplace of coffee.
The OG.
The OG.
Right.
There, coffee is more than just a drink. It's woven into the fabric of their culture.
Right.
They have a beautiful ceremony involving 3 rounds of coffee.
Wow. 3 rounds.
3 rounds.
That's serious dedication.
It is.
What's the significance of these 3 rounds?
The first round, Abel, represents the beginning,
Okay.
the strongest and boldest brew. The second round, Tona, symbolizes harmony and balance, the flavor becoming smoother.
Okay.
And finally, Barika represents a blessing.
A final cup, often infused with herbs and spices.
Yes, exactly.
Wow, it sounds like each round tells a story, taking the drinker on a sensory journey.
It does. It's a beautiful tradition.
What about other cultures? Are there any other brewing rituals that stand out?
Absolutely. In Turkey, coffee is traditionally brewed in a shez,
Okay.
a small pot,
Uh-huh.
and served in tiny cups.
Right.
But there's a twist. It's often used for fortune telling.
Hold on. Coffee ground fortune telling.
That's pretty cool.
It is. It's a fascinating tradition.
What other unique brewing styles are out there?
Well, if precision and artistry are your cup of tea,
Okay.
then Japan's hand drip methods will amaze you.
Oh, wow.
Each drop of water is carefully poured over the grounds.
Creating a mesmerizing ritual that results in a clean, flavorful cup.
I can see how that could be almost meditative.
Right.
This careful, focused pouring.
Yeah.
But I have to ask, what about Italy, the land of espresso?
Italy.
What makes their coffee culture so iconic?
It's all about that quick, intense burst of energy with their espresso culture.
Right.
Small, strong, and meant to be enjoyed quickly. It's the perfect reflection of the Italian lifestyle.
Right.
And let's not forget Brazil, where coffee is so deeply ingrained in their culture that they have festivals celebrating the harvest with music, dancing, and of course an abundance of coffee.
It's incredible how coffee has evolved from ancient origins to these diverse cultural expressions.
Absolutely.
I'm realizing that there's so much more to coffee than just a caffeine fix.
Yeah.
It's a global phenomenon, a cultural touchstone, and a source of endless fascination.
I couldn't agree more. And we've only just begun to scratch the surface.
Wow.
Now, are you ready to delve into the science behind coffee's complex chemical composition?
You bet. Let's unlock the secrets hidden within those roasted beans.
Excellent, because next we're going beyond caffeine
Okay.
to explore the fascinating world of chlorogenic acids, antioxidants,
All right.
and the ongoing debate about coffee's impact on our health.
Lead the way. I'm all caffeinated up and ready for more.
All right.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've journeyed through history, explored ancient rituals,
Yeah.
and witnessed the transformation of those little beans into the beverage we love.
Right.
Now I'm ready to get geeky and dive into the science of coffee.
Okay.
What exactly is going on in that cup besides the caffeine kick?
Get ready to be amazed because coffee is a treasure trove of fascinating compounds. Let's start with chlorogenic acids,
Okay.
a type of polyphenol known for its potent antioxidant properties.
Hold on. Antioxidants.
Yes.
I always associate those with superfoods like blueberries and green tea.
Right.
Coffee's got those too.
You bet.
Wow.
And they're a key player in some of coffee's potential health benefits. Think of antioxidants as tiny warriors fighting off those pesky free radicals that can damage our cells.
So coffee's not just a delicious drink, it's also a shield against cellular damage. That's pretty impressive.
It's certainly an intriguing area of research. And beyond chlorogenic acids, coffee boasts a symphony of other compounds, including those intriguing polyphenols you mentioned.
Polyphenols. Those sound pretty complex.
They are.
What do they do?
They're another group of antioxidants.
Okay.
And they're being studied for their potential role in protecting against inflammation and cell damage.
So coffee's basically a secret weapon for fighting inflammation.
Right.
All this time, I thought it was just my morning pick-me-up.
It's promising.
Yeah.
But while there's promising research on coffee's potential health benefits, it's not quite a magic bullet. We have to acknowledge the caffeine effect and its potential downsides, too.
Right. Caffeine, it's like the double-edged sword of the coffee world.
Exactly.
Giving us that energy boost, but also potentially leading to those jitters or sleepless nights.
Right.
But how exactly does it work? It's magic in the brain.
Imagine caffeine as a master of disguise.
Okay.
It has a molecular structure similar to adenosine, a chemical that makes us feel sleepy.
So caffeine basically tricks our brain into thinking it's not tired.
Exactly.
Wow, that's sneaky.
It is.
By blocking adenosine receptors.
Yes.
Caffeine prevents those sleepy signals from getting through.
Right.
Leaving us feeling alert and focused. And as a bonus, it also triggers the release of dopamine.
Yes.
That feel-good neurotransmitters associated with pleasure and reward.
Exactly.
That explains why coffee can feel so rewarding, especially when I need that morning motivation.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah.
But what about those downsides you mentioned?
Right.
While caffeine can be a creativity enhancer for some, too much can lead to anxiety, restlessness, and sleep disruption.
Right.
Especially for those who are more sensitive to its effects.
So like with most things in life, it's all about finding that sweet spot.
Yeah, exactly.
Moderating our intake and listening to our bodies.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the broader discussion of coffee's health benefits and risks.
Okay.
The research is ongoing, and there are often conflicting findings. Some studies suggest coffee can improve cognitive function and reduce the risk of certain diseases.
Right.
While others caution against excessive consumption due to potential cardiovascular effects or anxiety.
So it's not as simple as saying coffee is good or bad for you.
Right.
It sounds like the key takeaway is that the impact of coffee on health is nuanced and highly individual.
It is.
What might be beneficial for one person could have a different effect on another.
Exactly.
And that's why it's so important to be mindful of our own individual responses to coffee.
I agree.
Pay attention to how it makes you feel.
Yes.
Both physically and mentally, and adjust your intake accordingly.
Precisely.
It's like coffee is inviting us to have a personal relationship with it.
I like that.
To understand its complexities and how it interacts with our unique bodies.
It's a journey.
That's a pretty cool way to think about it.
It is.
But speaking of complexities, I'm curious about the global coffee market.
Okay.
We touched on colonialism earlier, but what are some of the key issues shaping the coffee trade today?
Well, for starters, the sheer scale of the industry is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Coffee is one of the most traded commodities in the world.
Wow.
With billions of cups consumed daily.
That's a lot of coffee.
It is.
That level of demand puts immense pressure on coffee-producing regions.
Right.
Raising concerns about sustainability and ethical sourcing.
Absolutely.
And that makes sense. I mean, we've already talked about the environmental impact of coffee cultivation.
Yeah.
Are there any solutions brewing to address these challenges?
Thankfully, yes.
Good.
There's a growing movement towards sustainable coffee production. Many farmers are adopting practices like shade-grown coffee, where coffee plants are grown under a canopy of trees, promoting biodiversity and reducing reliance on pesticides.
Shade-grown coffee.
Yeah.
That sounds like a win-win for the environment and the flavor.
It is.
What other initiatives are making the coffee industry more sustainable? I'm thinking about fair trade practices and ensuring that farmers are treated ethically.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Organizations like Fair Trade International and the Rainforest Alliance are championing ethical and sustainable practices within the coffee industry.
Right?
They set standards for fair wages, safe working conditions, and environmental protection.
So, by choosing coffee with their certifications,
Yes.
consumers can support farmers who are committed to responsible and sustainable practices.
Exactly.
So it's like we have the power to influence the coffee industry with our choices
You do.
by opting for certified coffee
Yeah.
or voting with our wallets for a more just and sustainable system.
Exactly. And that sense of conscious consumerism is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
It encourages us to think about where our coffee comes from, who grows it, and what impact our choices have on their lives and the environment.
It's like our daily cup of coffee becomes a gateway to a deeper understanding of global interconnectedness.
I like that.
We're not just enjoying a beverage. We're participating in a global network of farmers, roasters, and coffee lovers.
Well said.
And that brings me to something I found intriguing in your notes.
Okay.
There's a section highlighting those monkeys trained to harvest coffee in Ethiopia.
Right.
And it made me wonder,
Uh-huh.
do you think this practice could be seen as a form of biodynamic farming?
That's an interesting thought.
A way of working in harmony with nature rather than trying to control it.
I think there's definitely an argument to be made there. It's
Yeah.
about leveraging the natural abilities of those monkeys to select the best beans,
Right.
rather than relying solely on human intervention.
It's like a collaboration between humans and nature working together to produce exceptional coffee.
Exactly.
And it raises interesting questions about how we can learn from traditional practices and integrate them into our modern approach to agriculture.
I agree.
Perhaps there are other innovative and sustainable solutions waiting to be discovered, inspired by the wisdom of indigenous communities and their deep connection to the land.
I love that idea.
Me too.
It's like coffee is inviting us to reimagine our relationship with nature,
Yeah.
to find ways to collaborate and coexist rather than exploit.
I agree. And that brings us to the future of coffee,
Okay.
given the environmental challenges
Right.
and the growing demand for sustainability. What innovations or practices do you think will shape the coffee industry in the years to come?
That's a great question. I'm picturing things like new drought-resistant coffee varieties,
Okay.
maybe even more advanced shade-growing techniques that mimic natural forest ecosystems.
Those are fantastic ideas.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a rise in urban coffee farms,
Oh, interesting.
bringing coffee cultivation closer to consumers and reducing the environmental footprint of transportation,
Right.
or perhaps even more innovative processing methods.
That minimize water usage and waste.
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities brewing on the horizon.
It is.
The future of coffee is as dynamic and ever-evolving as the bean itself.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of coffee.
Okay.
The art of brewing.
All right.
Your source material dedicates a whole chapter to the nuances of various techniques.
Right.
From the precise pour-over methods to the intense pressure of espresso machines.
Okay, so we've covered the history, the science, the global impact. Now it's time to actually brew the coffee.
It is.
This is where it all comes together, right?
You got it. Brewing is where science and art truly converge in the world of coffee.
I'm ready to dive in.
Okay.
But before we do, can you give a quick rundown of the different brewing methods out there?
Sure.
I mean, for someone just starting to experiment, what are the key things to consider?
Well, first think about your taste preferences.
Okay.
Do you lean towards a bright, acidic cup or a smoother, full-bodied brew?
Then consider the equipment you have available
Right.
and the level of control you want over the brewing process.
So if I'm all about convenience, maybe a simple drip coffee maker is a good starting point.
Could be.
But if I want to get fancy and experiment with different flavors,
Right.
then I might need to explore other methods.
Exactly.
Like-
If you're looking for more nuanced flavors and a hands-on approach,
Uh-huh.
a French press or a pour-over method like the Hario V60 might be worth trying.
Hold on, the Hario what?
The Hario V60.
Can you break that down for those of us who might not be familiar with all the coffee lingo?
Of course.
Thanks.
The Hario V60 is a pour-over device that gives you more control over the brewing process.
Okay.
You manually pour hot water over the coffee grounds,
Right.
allowing you to adjust the speed and technique to extract different flavors.
Interesting.
It's a bit more involved than a simple drip coffee maker.
Yeah.
But it can result in a truly exceptional cup.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list of coffee gadgets to explore.
It's a good one.
But what about espresso? It seems like a whole other world of coffee brewing.
Espresso is definitely in a league of its own.
Okay.
It uses high pressure and finely ground coffee to create a concentrated shot of intense flavor.
Right.
It's the base for many popular coffee drinks like lattes and cappuccinos.
So for the perfect espresso, I need a fancy espresso machine.
Well, ideally, yes.
Okay.
But there are also more affordable options like mocha pots or AeroPresses that can produce a good approximation of espresso.
Wow, there's a whole universe of coffee brewing to explore.
There is.
I'm starting to see why coffee is so captivating.
Yeah.
It's not just a drink, it's an art form with endless possibilities.
I couldn't agree more. And as with any art form, there's always more to learn,
Right.
experiment with, and discover.
Your coffee journey has only just begun.
It has.
Wow. It's incredible to think that we've only just scratched the surface of the coffee world.
I know, right?
From ancient legends to modern science.
Yeah.
From ethical sourcing to innovative brewing techniques.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much to discover and appreciate about this beloved beverage.
It's true. And what's fascinating is that even after centuries of cultivation and consumption,
Right.
coffee continues to evolve and surprise us.
Yeah.
There's always something new to learn, a new flavor to explore, a new way to connect with this remarkable bean.
I'm definitely feeling inspired to expand my coffee horizons.
Good.
But before we wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious about something.
Okay.
You mentioned earlier that each cup of coffee is an opportunity to connect with a global community of coffee lovers.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that a bit?
Sure.
What does that connection look like in practice?
It's easy to forget as we sip our morning brew
Right.
that there's a vast network of people behind that cup.
Yeah.
From the farmers who meticulously cultivate the beans,
Mm-hmm.
to the roasters who transform them with their artistry,
Right.
to the baristas who craft those intricate latte designs.
There's a human story woven into every step of the coffee journey.
Exactly.
That's a beautiful way to think about it.
It's like we're participating in a global ritual, connecting with people we may never meet,
Yeah.
but who share our passion for coffee.
Exactly. And I think that awareness can deepen our appreciation for every cup we enjoy.
Absolutely.
It's an invitation to be more mindful, to savor the flavors,
Yes.
and to acknowledge the hands that have brought this beverage to our table.
I love that.
Me too. It's like coffee becomes a bridge between cultures and communities,
It
a
is.
shared language that transcends borders.
Precisely. And it's a language that's constantly evolving as new trends and innovations emerge.
Right.
Speaking of which, I noticed in your notes that you're interested in exploring specialty coffee varieties.
Oh, yes. I'm fascinated by the idea of single origin coffees,
Okay.
those beans that showcase the unique terroir of a specific region.
Uh-huh.
It's like the wine of the coffee world,
It is.
with each bean reflecting the distinct soil, climate, and processing methods of its origin.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Specialty coffee is all about celebrating those nuances, highlighting the distinct flavors and characteristics of each bean.
Okay.
It's a movement that's elevating coffee from a simple commodity to an artisanal product,
Right.
much like fine wine or craft chocolate.
So for someone who's just starting to explore specialty coffee,
Yeah.
what are some key things to look for?
Well, first pay attention to the origin of the beans.
Okay.
Look for coffees that specify the country, region, or even the specific farm where they were grown.
Right.
This will give you clues about the flavor profile you can expect.
Okay, so instead of just grabbing a bag of pre-ground coffee,
Yeah,
I should be looking for beans that tell a story about their origin.
exactly.
What else should I keep in mind?
Next, consider the roast level.
Okay.
Remember that lighter roasts tend to highlight the bean's natural acidity and floral notes, while darker roasts bring out those rich, chocolatey or smoky flavors.
So it's about finding the roast level that best complements the bean's unique characteristics.
Yes.
It's like a dance between the bean's inherent qualities and the roaster's artistry.
I love that analogy. And finally, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Okay.
Talk to your local barista, explore different roasters, and read up on the fascinating world of specialty coffee.
Right.
The more you learn, the more you'll appreciate the nuances of this incredible beverage.
This deep dive has definitely opened my eyes to the vast and intricate world of coffee.
Good.
I'm feeling inspired to be a more conscious consumer,
Mm-hmm.
to seek out those specialty beans,
Yeah.
and to experiment with new brewing methods.
It's like coffee has invited you on a journey of discovery,
It has.
one that you're eager to continue.
Exactly.
That's fantastic to hear. And remember, the beauty of coffee is that there's always more to explore.
Right.
More flavors to savor, more stories to uncover. So keep that curiosity brewing.
I will.
And may your next cup be filled with both delight and newfound knowledge.
Beautifully said. And to our listener, thank you for sharing your curiosity and your collection of coffee-related treasures with us.
Yes, thank you.
It's been a pleasure embarking on this deep dive with you.
Until next time, may your coffee be strong.
Yes.
Your conversations be stimulating.
Absolutely.
And your explorations continue to awaken your senses and your mind.
Cheers to that.